Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is the one, the only, the Predawn Show.
Thank you. Please. Okay. All right. Thank you. I just want to remind everyone that today's show is brought to you by Liberty Bagels. Just freshly opened, just east of 8th Avenue on 35th Street, right here in downtown Manhattan. The most New York name for a shop that you could think of. Liberty Bagels. It only sells bagels all day long. Please stop by. Today we are going to talk about something that has happened to me on the street. And I don't know if this has happened to you, but we have a lot of subways in New York.
Right.
And
now, was this something good or bad?
well, that's what we're going to talk about. Was it good or bad?
Right.
So we're gonna figure this out. You know, everyone has their morning commute, right? And I'm coming down, and well, you know me, I'm always careful about things, and I don't like the germs on the poles, so I'm trying not to touch the poles, and you know, I make sure that we have a good conductor. Otherwise, I don't take the train. But I'm taking the 2 express train down to 34th Street, and the train's crowded, like you can imagine. I'm sure you've been on those kinds of those crowded trains in the morning. You know, rush hour. It's you know, in fact, I did this project about how, you know, we need to fix the train overcrowding problem, but nobody seems to listen to me about anything. That's why nobody tunes into this show after all. So, anyway, I'm coming down, and you know, I'm gonna get off at 34th Street. We get to the stop and the door's open, so I'm, out of that response, I want to exit the train.
Right.
So I head toward the doors, but there's a problem.
The doors didn't open.
No. I mean, most subway cars are like that, but this one actually opened.
Okay.
But there was someone in the way.
Oh.
And you know how those 2 trains, the doors are offset.
Yeah.
So there's a pole in the middle, there's a pole on the side, and there's a person standing right in between the 2 poles. So I say, excuse me, I need to get off the train.
Okay. And so naturally they got out of the way.
Yeah, that's what you'd think. But they didn't. And so, so I said, okay, maybe you didn't hear me, because after all, like, most people don't listen to me anyway. So I'm used to it. So I said a little louder, hey, excuse me, I got to get off the train, right? And so again, the guy doesn't move.
Oh.
So now I'm thinking, okay, can I go around the guy? But the train's crowded, so I don't have this chance to go around. Maybe I can squeeze through, but the guy was a pretty big guy, looked like he had a few Liberty Bagels.
Oh.
Right. So they give me like 10,000 every time I mention the name. So. Right. So anyway, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna ask one more time. So I well it up inside me. I say, really, I gotta get off the train. People are starting to come in the train already, and I say, really, I gotta get off the train. Excuse me, I gotta get off the train.
Right.
Doesn't move. So now, what am I supposed to do?
Well, you wouldn't want to step on his shoes.
Oh no.
It's a cardinal sin here in New York.
Right. A very, So I couldn't do that. But then what? So I'm thinking about it, and I don't have a lot of time. So I decide what any thinking human being would decide to do, which is that I was going to ram my way out of the train. And that's what I did. And so I pushed through, and the guy got pushed out of the way. I gave him the old, Brooklyn shove.
Oh, the Brooklyn shove.
Yeah. And
Goes to the Bronx bash.
well, yeah, because now that's a good point, because the train was coming from the Bronx after all. I maybe should have given him, but it was headed to Brooklyn.
Okay.
So I don't know. But anyway, so he gets a little upset with me. I'm thinking, did you hear me? And so I give him a few words. I tell him a few syllables. But and then I go my way, and I'm thinking, does anyone know how to ride the subways around here? Is there like subway etiquette? But it leads to a deeper question, and this is what I really wanted to talk about today, which was, was I right to do that? Was that rude? Was that wrong? But I need to get off the train, so how do we determine whether it's right or wrong, or if this is something that was nice?
And
I wouldn't say it's
to
nice.
be honest, it's a predicament that not many Americans would really understand. Maybe some Chicagoans.
Sure.
Maybe people in London on the tube, they might understand such a predicament.
The occasional doctor on a United flight.
Okay, yes. Yes, to
be sure. So anyway, there's these kinds of cases, but not, like you're saying, there's not too many. So I'm thinking, is this nice? And then the old question came up. What would Jesus do? Would Jesus have pushed his way off the train or not?
Moses would have parted the people.
Yeah. Probably would have made the train wider too. But would Jesus have pushed his way through the crowd? So I thought about this, and I thought, actually, Jesus wasn't really that nice of a guy at all. But Christianity keeps telling us to be nice to our brothers and sisters.
Right.
I mean, all it's teaching is training people to be nice and giving and compassionate and merciful.
Turn the other cheek.
Right. All of that kind of stuff. But I think Jesus would have pushed his way off that train. And why do I think that? Because he did what God's will was. And I think that, he would have done the same thing. So I didn't feel bad about it. I didn't kill the guy. I got off the train. He still got to be on the train. There was a little contact, but that was all.
Right.
So, I mean, what's your take on this?
Well, it sounds like God had some divine providence for you to get off the 34th Street.
I guess, yeah, because the doors open in the middle platform there for the express trains anyway. So.
But I wonder, in your example, I wonder, perhaps if you're always nice to people, they may not ever realize, that maybe what they're doing is wrong or impolite or unsustainable.
Well, yeah, that's another point.
If we do live in a society.
That's another point too. People, if you don't speak up, then they won't know that you desire something, and maybe they would get out of the way.
But I think a lot of Christians would just say, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, and so they would leave it up to God's discretion or an appearance of a certain.
Let God be the judge.
Right. Or maybe they count on God working through someone like Batman, who would just be happening to take the train as well. And he could intervene on your behalf.
Because surely Spider-Man wouldn't be on the train. Well, he might be on top of the train,
yes.
But he wouldn't be in the train. So yeah, that's a good point. I think there's a good discussion about this that can be had. But it's just a very interesting New York kind of experience, and I think I did the right thing, and I don't think God would frown upon that so much. But that's my take. I mean, what do I know? I'm the only person up in the Predawn anyway. Well, you're up in the Predawn too, but. So those of you at home, please go ahead and write your comment, what you would do and what you think Jesus would do in this situation. So this is it for the Predawn Show. Go take a nap.